Hello, I'm Greg Peterson, color commentator for the Calgary Stampeders with QR 77 Radio, and we're going to go on a tour of the Calgary Stampeder locker room. This is a tours that we're going to do throughout the year, so be staying tuned. We'll be giving you good tours of all the locker rooms throughout the CFL. We'll also be going behind the scenes and visiting the referees in the background. We'll see some of the training rooms, all the press boxes in the various leagues. But with me is my good friend and the person who has been with the Stampeders longer than any other person, George Hopkins. This is George's 36th year with the Calgary Stampeders, and he is the head equipment manager, I guess you could say, George.
Good description.
And you know what? As an ex-player, you treat this guy good, and he'll treat you good. So let's go into the locker room, and we'll see what it's like. So, George, as we come in here, as you can see, it looks pretty good right now. We're getting ready for a game, so George and his staff, which you have a staff of how many now, George?
I've got one full-time and then 3 part-time that we use during the season. So.
Okay, and you got the nice locker room here. It's all set up for the game tonight.
It always looks good on game day.
It looks good on game.
It always looks good on game day before the guys get here. Because once they get here, then it's kind of control confusion. So.
Well, and this place has a lot of history, as you can see up here. You have the retired, those are the retired numbers, is that correct, George?
Yeah, retired numbers. Then there's the odd one that isn't retired but isn't actually used anymore.
Okay.
So the one big one up there that you don't see is probably number 20, because officially it's still an active number, but we
Number 20 being Flutie, and that will happen someday.
That will happen someday. And we keep pushing for 24, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. That was my number. That's a good number. So let's walk around here, and you can see that you know, each one of the players have their own little locker room, and all locker rooms are a little bit different. But so maybe, George, you could explain some of the outstanding CFL veterans or great players who play where their lockers are.
There's been a few around. Apart from this group here, you were in pretty good company. The one that Henry's been in has basically been our starting quarterback since Flutie.
Oh, is that right? So Flutie had this locker?
Flutie had Burris's, and then Dickey had it after Flutie, and Burris had it. So Garcia was in there. So that's basically been our quarterback's locker.
And do you always try and put the quarterbacks together?
More and more we've done that, yeah. We've started the group more by position where we can. When we get around to building a new facility, then it's going to be a lot easier to actually do that when you make your locker room. But over the years here, it's just kind of been the bigger guys gravitated to the bigger lockers.
Yes. So we'll move around here, and I remember that we used to have, this was offensive line.
This was offensive line. Now it's kind of OND line.
Okay.
What's interesting was Bruce Covington went into this locker, and kind of on a fluke by my part, I ended up putting Sumpas in there. So we got 2 Weaver State guys starting.
Oh, yeah.
So Covey's in heaven.
Let's take a little Weaver State.
He's been walking on water ever since he found out that Sumpas got his locker. So
okay, and so
you get down along here, it's been pretty steady. John Helton's locker was actually right here where our
Biggie. Okay, you got a big locker for Biggie.
Yeah. So, and the end one was Willie Burton for 10 years.
Okay, so
Of 7 lockers here at one time used to be 4 because there was 2 entrances to the washroom shower area. So as we've gone over the years, you might remember that when you were here, there was a double entrance here.
Yeah.
So we've added lockers, subtracted lockers. We're at 51 right now, which the reason this looks so nice is that we've got 12 guys on temporary lockers in the middle that we've rolled up on game day.
So and most CFL lockers seat or have lockers for about 50 guys.
50 guys, yeah. So
this was always the coveted locker for some reason.
Yeah,
how did Cote get it?
Cote just got it because we were short of Caucasians.
Okay.
This is the Canadian condos. You have to.
Okay, Canadian condos.
This group here. This was Tom Presenter's locker for years and years.
Okay.
So.
Cheech.
Yeah. So and it's kind of Lysac moved over because this used to be Jay McNeil's locker.
Yeah, that's where Jay always was. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be Canadian to get in here. So,
okay. And then, of course, they supply juice, Gatorade, everything for them.
Yep.
Over here, looks like the wideouts, and this was always the characters that used to sit in this part of the locker.
It still is. These 4 guys here, Jackson not so much yet, but Rambo, Copeland, and Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
They speak their own language,
oh,
so
yeah.
you can come down here and not really understand a word that's been said for a week or 2. So.
And, of course, they got everything. They just throw all their laundry in here, and George's staff do everything for us, obviously. They treat you really well. And this was always linebacker row. And
Still basically is, yeah.
Okay.
So we've been AJ sat in the corner for 13 years where Raul is right now. So,
All right, well, let's go back into George's little office back here where we keep, and then of course the players all got their little mail slots where they, that's a big one because that's where we get our paychecks every week, right?
that's exactly right. Guys, find that pay slot out real quick. So,
Well, and here's where George keeps all his equipment. You can see, and you need a bigger room, and I understand you're going to get a new one, but you know, each one of the players at the end of every practice, they just put it into one of these things and throw it, and George and his crew just wash it all for you, and face mask and all the new helmets that come in and all the inventory of equipment. George, you see you've keeping kind of a collection of old helmets up there. They've been here for a long time.
yeah, it's kind of, this is the college end of things, and then back in the office we got the pro end of them as well. So that's one of the hazards of being an equipment guy. You tend to hold on to too much stuff.
Yeah, and you become pretty good with tools. This is where George fixes all the helmets. He's got all the screws and equipment and all that for all the various stuff. I can see that these are quite handy.
Back in the day, you used to do it by screwdriver.
How often do you fix their helmets? After every game?
What we do is we go through before each game, 2 days before, and we'll make sure that masks aren't bent. We'll change any bent or chipped masks. Mm-hmm. We re-decal probably on average 50% of the team each game, because if there's a slight little nick or anything out of the horse, you got to change
Get
it.
these in.
Yeah.
They go from here to being with the Stampeder horse, of course, which you put on it. And there you'll take a type of face mask. I know in my career I went through about 5 or 6 face masks, but you'll screw it on and away you go.
Away you go. And now that we've gone to a painted helmet, which we did 5 years ago to get a more brilliant red, the biggest problem with that from an impact standpoint is now we got linemen going through 3 or 4 different shells a year because they start to gouge up, and there's only so much repainting you can do before it starts to look like it's been repainted.
Yeah. And what do you got here? Is this just all the balls for the game?
That's game balls. So we've been buffing those. We use a
well, that's kind of cool.
the little process that we go through. We wet the balls down, and then we got a hand buffer that we buff each ball.
Okay, so just and what does that do, George?
What it does is, coming out of the bag, they're very slick.
Okay.
Because the
Quarterbacks don't like that.
And so what you do is you rough them up, you bring the texture back out in the ball, so that it's not nearly as slick when they're throwing it.
Okay, and how many balls do you usually have for every game?
League requirements are the chaps provide at least 12.
12.
Yeah.
And how many balls would you say that footballs would you say you guys go through in a season?
On a good year, if we're scoring touchdowns and throwing them up in the stands, our allotment of free balls is 200, and we'll buy 100 on top of that.
Okay, so you'll go through at least 300. And that's just for the games, though.
That's just
And practice. So you.
Game balls become practice balls,
Okay.
become kicking balls, become
Okay,
giveaway balls.
giveaway balls. Georgie's office, which he's been here for a long time. He's got some more helmets up there, of course, from various pro teams, and up over here, a lot of the CFL helmets. Just go back in here, and you just got all your. This is where all the jerseys are kept.
This is all game jersey back in through here.
And this facility is probably the next year or two going to be torn down.
Yep.
Of course, they're building a whole new facility for the Calgary Stampeders, and they have been obviously conversing with you and what your needs are. And this whole new we're going to get a whole new locker room. I'm sure it's going to be very nice. I've always loved that one sign. When I was a rookie, one of the first signs that I ever saw when I got in here was that one right there. If you want to get a shot of that there. So how long has that sign been here?
I inherited that sign. I think Georgie Dunn, the equipment manager when the command opened in 1960, put that up.
Yeah, so we furnish everything with shoes and guts, and I really like the rookies should be seen and not heard. That must be your sign, though.
That actually is.
I think it's a great locker room, good setup, nice and convenient.
Yep.
I know that the years I played, we would be playing ball hockey in here once in a while. And
The odd soccer game is broke up.
yeah, we had a ping pong table in here, a lot of locker rooms too. But a locker room is a place that the players almost have as their home away from home. A lot of good times, memories are made, and this is the Calgary Stampeder locker room. We'll be visiting the other locker rooms, but I consider this a special place in my heart. It's just a great place, and as I said, lots of memories for the players. So, George, thank you very much. This has been a tour of the Stampeder locker room, and we'll be touring others as the season goes on. So stay tuned and visit the website of QR77. Thanks a lot.